So I'm in a general relativity course right now.
Yes.
It's very fun, and if we're on the topic of curved spacetime, I wanted to ask when Einstein introduced general relativity. I think was it 1906?
Oh no.
Oh man.
GR no later. That's SR, special
Oh, that's
relativity.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Um, it encounters a lot of resistance. Does it encounter resistance in the community because it presents this like sort of groundbreaking idea that seems to go against the conventional wisdom of these axioms, and it might be a logical extension of them, but it's just so taboo that I think
Wait.
Cantor encountered this too when he tried to prove the naturals.
Yeah, so that's an interesting story, by the way.
Yeah.
But what do you mean encountered resistance? Like at the time when GR was published?
Well, I don't know if he published his solutions. Well, he didn't. I'm sorry, he didn't have solutions to his field equations. He published the field equations, and
Hmm.
well, hopefully someone finds a solution. People did, but maybe specifically with Cantor, his ideas encountered a ton of resistance.
Yeah.
So these his findings were so outlandish it drove him to a mental asylum and gave him a bunch of trouble. Is he
Well,
the Nietzsche of math? Is that what's going on?
um, okay, so I think part of what, yeah, once again, like, okay, I'm getting back into territory I don't know too much about, but
Sure,
I'm pretty
I'm
sure,
always there.
I suspect that what made him struggle so much mentally is like being ostracized by the
Sure,
math community.
yeah,
Like that's a super difficult thing when you're ostracized by society, and that's what happened to Nietzsche.
yes it
So
is.
in
Yes it
that
is.
sense, it does look like they're very similar. Yeah.
But we need these people to spring
Yeah.
fields
Hmm.
forward. I mean, contributions of philosophy from Nietzsche are
Hmm.
huge and will be studied forever, and I assume the same of Cantor, at least in the math field. So, is this a sort of cycle that that's a self-correcting cycle that comes out of a good set of axioms? That might be another way to test it. Is like every now and then we get this person that comes in and arranges things in such a way that seems so preposterous, but it's a logical extension and it follows. And yeah, it's going to upset some people, but it's making progress. And then 80 years later, 60 years later, we're like, okay, we're okay with it now. But so maybe well, I don't think Terrence Howard is a good example because he's not using the system that already exists. But
Yes.
but can we be more open to people who come in and take what we have, arrange them in new ways that might seem preposterous?
Uh, that's just it's paying the piper, right? That's the cost of the axioms you
Yeah.
chose. And if they can prove it, then yeah, you have to accept it pretty much. Or you have to say, okay, I don't like these axioms anymore,
And you
but
just remove yourself from the system and yeah.
yeah, but that could be problematic if you're
Yes,
saying
it can.
I don't like, the basic axioms we
Yeah.
use for
You might be able to get away
mathematics.
with it with math and go back to just being like 3 bananas, 4 bananas, 7 bananas. But I mean, if
Yeah.
you, I mean, existing in the world, I mean, but if we're
Mhm.
dealing with an axiomatic system that is not a rigorously mathematically defined one, yes, you're going to encounter a lot of problems if you just, and this is, I mean, I think of the example of religion, of
Mhm.
institutionalized religion. It's sort of a set of axioms that you almost get, if you were raised religious, you get handed a set of axioms. And if you reject that, then yeah, there's, you can get yourself into not trouble, but more mentally having to sort through all these things that's going on and maybe construct axioms for yourself and see how those play with the ones that you've been given.
Yeah.
And in a sense, that's what I'm doing here. So
Mhm. Yeah, when you start to play around with the axioms, it can kind of be uh, like it can feel kind of like you don't have solid ground anywhere.
that's
Like,
exactly how it feels.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you're trying to build your house on sand or figure out where there's rock underneath
Yeah.
the
Figure out
sand.
where there's rock is definitely
Yeah,
where it is.
it can be quite challenging. I mean, like if you think about um, axioms in this way, like it can be really unnerving. Like when you
Yeah.
combine like Gödel's incompleteness theorem with like, okay, well, let's ask like what axioms we want to believe. That's an existential crisis for sure.
Yeah.
As far as like having these religious axioms and then maybe having to question them for their validity, right? That's basically what like you're doing is like you're
Right.
playing around with them. You want to determine whether they're really meaningful axioms that you want to hold on to.